everybody, I hope that you are well. This is another one of my most requested videos to make. I've given you all my tips on how to organise your life to save money for travelling. I'll link that video below. But a lot of you want to know actually about my line of work and how I actually make money for travelling. So in short, basically, I am a temp. How it works, if a company requires an employee for a short amount of time, maybe someone's gone off sick, maybe someone's on maternity leave, maybe they're just really busy and they need an extra hand in the office, whatever it may be, they will go to a recruitment agency specifying who they need, and the agency will place a candidate who they think best suits the role. To be in the running, as it were, to be a candidate for one of these jobs, you need to be registered up with that particular agency. This doesn't cost you anything and you won't get paid any less, it's just that the company pays the agency quite a lot to have you there, and then it is the agency who then pays your wages. The more agencies you're registered with, the more likely you are to get a job because all the agencies have different clientele. And the jobs vary massively in duration. You could be required for half a day to several months. Different agencies recruit for different job sectors. For example, my sister works for Faircroft, which recruit jobs for oil and gas, so I'm not signed up to them because that is not the work that I am suitable for or have any experience for. So that's how recruitment agencies that hire temporary candidates work. Now me specifically, I sign up to recruitment agencies that find work for office support temps. So this is like administration, reception, sometimes logistics. It requires you to be good on the phone, good with Microsoft Office. You do not require a degree at all. Of course, there's no harm in putting it in your CV, but unless you can prove that it's given you office experience, it will not put you anywhere above the other candidates in the rankings. Now obviously with any job, you have to start somewhere, and I won't lie, this isn't exactly easy because almost every single job that is recruited for says that they require a little bit of office experience, and this is why you have to be prepared for absolutely anything. You need to get your foot in the door. All the ideal jobs will go to candidates with more experience. It can take weeks and even months to land your first job, but when you do, you have to make sure that you smash it, because all it takes is that one good report from that first employer to get the ball rolling, and then the jobs will come flowing in. But to speed up the process of just getting your first job, you need to make the best impression possible to your recruiter. So first, you need a kick-ass CV. It may not have any experience on it, but you need to make it as appealing as possible. Make it visually appealing, and to the recruiter, this is clean and concise. At the top, your name, clearly followed by your phone number, email, and address. You then want a short personal profile highlighting what you are about. In this, it should mention the work that you're after, that you work hard with everything that you do, and I don't know, that you strive to better yourself with every task that you do, something like that. You should also have bullet pointed your key skills up there in prime position. Recruiters for office support love to see attention for detail, experience with Microsoft Office, presentable, punctual, professional, competence on the phone. If you have impressive school grades, then squeeze them in next, but keep it brief. If you favoured partying over revising in your later teens, that's totally fine. Just skip to the part which is the most important, which is your relevant experience. You can call this employment history, work experience, whatever floats your boat, but this section is important. It should include the company name, the dates you worked there, and your job position, and then a few bullet points highlighting what you did with hints to skills that you utilised and also just how great you are. For example, liaised with salesmen to ensure all walk-in customers had been welcomed and their inquiry acknowledged in an efficient, professional manner. If none of your previous jobs have any relevance, you may have to do a bit of twisting. For example, if you were a sports coach, talk about that time you had to sort everyone into teams. Say it was a complex logistical operation that required high attention to detail. There is always a way to make your work sound much better than reality without technically lying. If you still have a bunch of space left at the bottom of your CV, you can just stick in a few hobbies and interests. Don't tell them about your love for the Kardashians though, or FIFA. Tell them about your love for travel, or that new language that you're trying to learn, or that sport that you practice regularly and compete in. And regarding references, it's easiest just to put references available on request at the bottom of your CV. And although it's common, you really shouldn't completely make things up on your CV. When you're in the interview with the recruiter, they are going to be quizzing you on everything that you have written down on your CV, so make sure that you can talk about it with confidence and have evidence to back it up. Saying that the interviews with the recruiters are relatively chilled, however, it's not something that you need to get nervous about. They want to help you at the end of the day. It's their job to get you a job so they get paid. But still, they're only going to put the candidates forward who they can trust. Turn up to your interview with the recruiter recruiter looking presentable, preferably in the clothes that you would for a formal interview. This shows them that you're serious about the work and you're not here to mess about. But use the interview to really show off your personality. The amount of jobs I've been hired for my personality over work experience is crazy, really. I think the reason being, in reality, is that office support jobs really aren't that hard. They don't take long to learn. So the employer would much rather bring in someone with a big, vibrant personality who's going to bring positivity to the office but not much experience, rather than someone who has a multitude of experience but the personality of a wet blanket. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you've now nailed your CV and the interview with the recruiter. You must now, young grasshopper, understand the importance of persistence. After you have successfully registered with an agency, you may think success, but the hard work ain't over yet. Especially if you have little experience and especially if you are new to the agency, the recruiters have the ability to forget you like that. And so this is where your persistence comes in. You have to contact them every single day, reminding them that you are still looking for work and for them to call you as soon as something comes up because you are ready and raring to go. Calling them is definitely more effective than emailing for this daily reminder. There is usually just one recruiter from the agency who will be in charge of looking after you specifically, but if you can, try and get to know all the members of the team. If someone unfamiliar picks up the switchboard when you call, introduce yourself to them and tell them the kind of work that you're looking for. This may all seem like you may be coming on a little bit strong, but as long as you are super polite and to the point, it's all good and they will start to remember you, so you are at the forefront of their minds when a job comes up that would be suitable for you. A great thing is that you can sign up to as many agencies as you want, and you should definitely take advantage of this and sign up to as many as you can. All the agencies have different clientele, so the more you're signed up with, the faster and the more likely you are to find a job. Just make sure that you're on top of all the agencies that you've registered with and that you are familiar with your main contact in each agency. This is the only thing in my life I actually create an amateur spreadsheet for. I have a list of all the agencies I'm registered with, and under them information like who my main contact is, jobs they've given me, what jobs they've offered me, when I last reminded them that I was available, who I spoke to. Essentially, it's a log that I can always refer back to. And then you can remind your recruiter what your last conversation was about. All the while, being on top of stuff like this is just more proof to your recruiter that you are a reliable, trustworthy temp who means bloody business. Okay, so now the job itself. My favorite role to go for is reception, but if an admin or logistics role is offered, then I don't turn them down. Because I do have quite a lot of experience on my CV now, I can afford to turn down jobs that don't sound quite as appealing and still be confident that something else is going to come up. Call center jobs are definitely the worst, but you know, I had to do a couple of call center jobs in the past to get to where I am today. Generally the jobs are 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so nice and sociable hours. Being a receptionist generally involves answering the phone, managing the switchboard, welcoming guests, setting up meeting rooms, managing incoming and outgoing post. It's all relatively easy stuff, and temps are kind of notorious for not giving a shit about the jobs that they do, because at the end of the day, they're just a temp. That company means nothing to you. You can get replaced, but you can't get fired, and generally the company needs you more than you need them. Despite this, I cannot stress the importance enough of actually doing a half-decent job. You have to keep your supervisor at the company happy with you because they report back to your recruiter about how you've done. If you've done great, then your recruiter is immediately going to place you into a new role when you've finished your current one. However, if they hear that you've been shit, you are really going to struggle to get work again because the recruiter is not going to trust you. That's a big deal to the recruiter because the client has to trust them to bring in a decent temp. If a shit temp turns up, the client doesn't tend to blame it on the temp, they blame it on the recruiter for recruiting a shit temp. It's all a circle, but the bottom line is that you have to do a decent job so that you can stay in constant employment. But this doesn't mean that your job has to be difficult. Like I said before, clients love temps with personalities. It is ridiculous how far just a smile will get you. I got one of my jobs in Sydney because I was smiley, and at another job in Sydney where I was working on reception, I always said hi to everyone that came in, welcomed them nicely and gave them a big smile, and they wanted to keep me on longer because my supervisor said how pleasant it was to be greeted with a big smile every morning. Coffee is your best friend before work in the morning. That is going to help you a lot. I like this line of work because you can pretty much do it in any country that you're eligible to work in, and you also have the opportunity to get some really good, well-known names on your CV. Some companies I've worked for are Land Rover, Jaguar, Porsche, Subaru, Coney Elevators, Petrofac, to name a few. And the best thing, you can do it for as long or as short as you want. Whenever you want to jet off to a new location around the world for however long you want, it is possible. You've just ranked up a bunch of high-profile names on your CV, all whilst having the time of your life. And that's how I make money for traveling, essentially. Sorry, this video has been a bit of a preaching rant. I just get asked so much about the work that I do. I hope this has helped some of you out. Even if you don't want to do the same line of work, perhaps it's given you a bit of inspiration or tips on employment or just tips for getting a job in general. I know I'm still young, but I have been doing this on and off for 4 years now. My mother is also a careers advisor, so I do feel sufficiently confident about how to do the art of office temping. If you have taken anything from this video, even if it's that you've made it this far and you have no idea why, give it a thumbs up. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing in my life at the moment. Subscribe to this channel for more tips and to keep up with my adventures. I think the next video is going to be another vlog of me trying to find a job in Sydney at the end of last year, so get ready for that and I'll see you then. Bye! I'm going to New Zealand in 2016. But yeah, my head is just all over the place right now. What do? I'll go back to work and then